you got saved by Jesus when you were 15, and then something happened and you were led astray a little bit. And then you came back like from lukewarm to passionate and in fire in 2019, 2020. And so share about where did it all start?
Yes. So my story is a beautiful story of how God connects the dots. I gave my life to Christ when I was 15 at a retreat for teenagers. It was called Youth for Christ. And from that moment on, I started participating in those retreats, and I really loved working with teenagers. So I went and I got a degree at a Jesuit university in religious studies so that I could work in ministry. And during that time, I was so excited, but then I also got married very young while I was in college, and I ended up with my first two children, walking up with them to get my diploma.
Wow, what a power woman.
It was quite something. So that was a great accomplishment. I felt very happy and proud of myself in that moment. But then working with youth, you need your nights and weekends, right? That's when you get together with them. But so did my children. They needed their mommy nights and weekends. And so I just saw that it was just too difficult to balance both things in the moment. It wasn't the right season or timing. So I decided to leave that ministry and just dive into entrepreneurship. And that is what I did for the next 27 years.
And where did you focus during that entrepreneurship, and to what degree did you, so to say, close your door to God and Jesus? So what changed from your initial passion for doing it and then to starting a business and looking a little bit into other directions? So what changed there, and where did you focus in your business?
That's a great question, because I believe that they say that you are a product of the 5 people around you, right?
Yes.
So you are in the middle of an environment that fosters faith, you grow in that. When you remove yourself from it, and then it's only you and the world, then that tends to consume. That consumes.
Yes. It starts to mold you.
Exactly.
Again, right?
Exactly. And so then your thought process changes as well. It moves from, I want to have a relationship with you, Lord, to how can other people have a relationship with me and approve of me and see me as something important, right? And so during that time, I did all different types of businesses. I was a piano, or actually a music teacher for 10 years. Wow. At my children's school. And so I did that for a while. And then I taught private piano and guitar classes and did different things there. Then I moved into online, where I had some very profitable Etsy shops. And then I went into network marketing. And then I started just online business and coaching with branding and tech and marketing and all of these things. So I've done a little bit of everything within those 27 years. But it was really a change of focus is what it was. Yes. At the beginning, I was focused on him. During those 27 years, while I still had a relationship with him, I would still pray on my own in my secret place. When I would wake up, he was the first thought in my head. But that's where it ended. And it did not continue throughout the day. Then it became, okay, what does Monica need to do to be successful? What does Monica need to do to provide a good life for her family? And so in the middle of using the excuse, I've got to be honest with myself and say that was an excuse of, if I work a little more and I get to this point in my business, then I'll have extra time to spend with my kids, because I'll be able to hire somebody to clean the house and somebody to do this and that, and that'll give me more time with them. That time never came. It was always never enough. I wasn't doing enough, and I had to keep starting and creating new things that I never finished. And so, yes, it was like a vicious cycle.
And it sounds like a little bit like I can resonate with that from my own earlier career, this rat race, right? That this performing, doing everything by yourself, carrying the weight, family, the businesses, the clients, and everything, and really taking the reins of your life into your own hands. This quite a classical story about a high achiever like myself, high performer and performer and doer. And yeah, sounds like a rat race, right?
Definitely. And I think that's where the enemy likes to keep us, right? Where it's never enough, where you're never even, and then you get into this place where you have all these great ideas, but right before the breakthrough, where you're even going to start making income in your business, something happens where doubt sets in, and then you retreat. And then you're like, well, maybe this isn't quite the right business. Maybe a different one would be better. And then you start all over again.
Yeah. The shiny object syndrome and self-doubt. And I know that, oh yes, that happened. Yeah, that is like, as you say, the enemy sneaks in a very subtle way. That is where he has his power, right? And you don't even realize it. And then, yeah, tell me more.
Yes, it was a place in my life where not only was my separation from relationship with God, just even in my prayer life or my communication with him, but it also turned into anxiety, workaholism, of course, but also anxiety. There were 2 years of my life where I ended up with literally every day nonstop panic attacks, which came out of the blue, like out of nowhere, like no history of any of that. And then one day, boom, I thought I was dying. And I went to the emergency room and they said, there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, but wait, I feel like I'm dying. I can't breathe. My heart's coming out of my chest. And then it just became a cycle. So he took me from a place of being very vocal about him to a place where not only was I not talking about him, but I even retreated from society. I became a hermit. I was such kind of like a very much a people person, talking to everyone, that kind of thing. And I became a hermit because I became scared in that place of fear from the anxiety and panic attacks. And so I literally, that's why I turned from doing more person-to-person business to online business, because I didn't be around people. I was scared I was going to pass out or do something crazy.
And did you also, when we spoke about this rat race and vicious cycle, did you also feel like exhausted? And then you felt that I need to retreat because I am so exhausted, and because that happened to me, that I then started to isolate, right? And then I thought that being alone or taking more time for myself, it would be better, but it necessarily wasn't. It wasn't necessarily.
Yeah, it was almost like the enemy put a muzzle on me. He knew that I was very vocal because he had seen what I had done when I was a teenager. And he said, if I can put her in a place of fear where she's even scared of talking, that's where I want her. Yeah. And now actually that's a great connection for what happened in 2019.
Yes. And then what happened afterward about the speaking. So it's yes. Yeah,
it makes complete sense now. This is the first time I'm actually thinking about it that way.
Yeah. And what you are sharing from your story is just so, I think it's very, very typical that happens to us when we take our face and our sight away from God. And this is when we turn away a little bit, then the enemy already sneaks in, and then we start feeling inappropriate, inadequate, we feel bad, and then the vicious cycle starts. Then it gets worse and worse and worse, and the worse it gets, the more he has us. And the more there is this gap between us and God, even though God never leaves us, but it's I am hearing from your story, this is a very powerful message, especially for 2022, where we cannot be lukewarm anymore. And these rituals of, okay, I have ticked the box, I have done my morning prayer, my morning meditation, I have read 15 minutes in my Bible, now it's done. That is not good enough anymore, and it doesn't serve anymore.
Right.
So, yeah, so what happened next when you started to retreat into then you went into online business?
Yeah.
And,
so I did very well in my online businesses, doing branding and helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses as well. But there was always a hole. There was always, it was always a question, is this my purpose?
Yeah.
That kept coming up. So nothing quite, while it was going well and I enjoyed it, it didn't fill me the way that I felt there's got to be more. You know, most people will ask themselves, is this what I'm meant to do? Or you have this feeling like something is off. And so in 2018, I was introduced to a company called Sanctuary Girl, and I am still with them right now. I'm their Chief Global Ministry Officer, and it's just a company that sells scripture-based jewelry and home accessories, different things like that. So that was my first re-entry back into an environment that promoted faith. Right? Remember, I had that environment first. I was taken away from that environment. It was very easy to get sucked into the world.
Yeah.
And now I'm back in that environment. So my antennas, my faith antennas are standing up, and I'm kind of observing, oh, wow, yeah, God is in that, and God is in that, and God is in that. And it's a very exciting time for me. Like, ooh, I feel like something is stirring in me once again.
So how did you end up with that company? So was it like, were you seeking something when you felt this void inside of you? Did you start seeking something, or did it come to you like a call from God? Like, hey,
it was a complete God thing, because one of my clients had put up a banner on her Facebook page, and I saw it come up, and I said, there's no way she made that, because I know her, like, you know, just regular, not everybody can be a designer, right? So I'm like, what is that? And I saw the name Sanctuary Girl. And so I looked it up. I'm like, that is so strange. What is that? I looked it up, and I saw that at that time, it was actually a direct sales company. And I was like, that is so cool. They're selling jewelry with scripture. I want to be part of that. So I signed up to be a distributor. I said, even if I don't make it like a big business or anything, I want to be just somehow in touch with them, right? Well, it turns out that during the time that I signed up, the system was actually closed to accept any new ambassadors, but somehow I got through. somehow.
God was calling you.
Yes. And then I messaged the CEO just to tell her, I'm like, I know CEOs are busy. I probably won't get an answer, but I just said, hey, I signed up. I'm really excited. I'm just applauding what you're doing, because it's not common to see in the direct sales world what it was. It's not direct sales anymore. Now we have actual stores and locations, but at that time it was. And she responded within like 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, and she said, you're not going to believe this, but I need to talk to you on the phone.
Yes.
Like, what is happening? What is happening? So I was talking with her, and she said, I looked over your social media, and I was just talking with another of her coworkers in the business, how we need somebody with your exact qualifications to come and help us. So from day one, something where I shouldn't have even been able to sign up, because they're like, we don't even know how you got in. They're like, we're refunding you your money because you're not even supposed to be part of this.
The Lord can open doors that no
human
can open.
So all of a sudden, I'm part of the corporate team. Like, how does that happen? That's only God. So so that was my full circle, right? It started there. And then at the end of 2019, I was walking here in my room and I hear the word speak, because I was looking for my word of the year is what was happening. And I had a few different options, but all of a sudden that word came to me and I was like, what is that, Lord? That just came out of the blue. And I kind of prayed into it a little more, and I heard the nudging, you're going to go live every single day of 2020, and you're going to do a daily devotional. And I said, I have not done that since I was in my, teens and 20s. I have not spoken publicly about God. And I don't have time. I have 8 kids. I have multiple businesses. When am I going to study? He said, don't worry, I'm going to put the words in your mouth. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll do it.
And then, would you say that was a decisive moment? Because actually you started to give excuses to God. You started to put, I'm not saying this as a finger pointing, but like we all do this, right? Yes. You started to put your own agenda before him and say, I know better, as if God didn't know that you had 8 children and multiple businesses. And so would you say that was a decisive moment where you could have rejected that call, but you decided to obey, obedience?
Yes. That yes literally changed my life. Literally, I can pinpoint that day when I said, yes, I will show up. Excuse me. I can say that was the beginning of a completely different way of living, way of being, and going from that lukewarm to someone who is literally on fire for God. That is like my main purpose. And what ended up happening was that I had mentioned that I have a degree in religious studies. Yes. On top of everything else, he erased the whole Bible and everything I had learned. I could have saved a lot of money going to college if I knew that was going to happen, and just skip the whole thing. But it was all gone.
What I am getting now is ego erased.
Ding, ding, ding. Exactly. And so going from a place of, okay, I want you to show up every day and talk about me. I'm like, okay, well, at least I know a few things. Well, no, actually you don't. He said, everything that you learned from here is gone. Yes. He said, I'm going to teach it to you from here.
Oh, powerful. And humility, isn't it? Humility, admitting that I actually don't know. What I thought that I knew would carry me forward, but now I don't know.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes. And so what that taught me in the moment was knowledge about God. We all have it. We all know there's a God. You could know a Bible verse. You can know all of these things, but it means nothing if you do not put it into action. It means literally, it means nothing. And we don't want to be that person where, he's always calling us back to our first love, which is him. And we don't want to be that person that he says, you spoke about me, you cast out demons in my name, yet I don't know you.
Yes.
Right. And so this was my opportunity to get to know him, to get to know his faithfulness through that whole year. He said, do a devotional every day. It ended up being 30, 45 minutes every single day, talking to people about God. And he was ministering to me because I didn't even know what I was going to say. There were times when I was in bed sick, I would sit here and all the sickness would go and leave just during that time that I was talking about him. So he was just so faithful. So right now, anybody can come and tell me, ooh, I don't know if this, God told me to do this, but I don't know if it's going to work out. I'm like, look, there is no way that you're going to find out if you don't do it. If you don't do it.
And this shows, first of all, God's power, which is immeasurable, but above all, how you got to experience that power because you did what he told you to do.
Yes.
So it's like, if you had said no and have done your own thing, which you could have done, none of this would have happened. So it was a gift of obedience, and that came with a huge reward.
Amen. And he said to me, I did not forget you the first yes that you gave me when you were 15.
Oh, I'm getting chills.
Yes, I'm just bringing you back to your first yes.
Yes.
I know all of us, our first encounter with the love of God is something you will never forget. And he kept telling me, that is what I want you to experience every day of your life. It's not just for the first time. This is who I am for you every day. But you're so blinded by what the distractions of the world that you don't see that. You don't see that. And so I have just been so in awe of the way that he has shown up, and just the things have unfolded, because now if he says anything, I'm the first one in line.
Yes.
I'm like, that's scary. That's really scary, but I'm the first one in line because I know the fruit of obedience. Yeah. There are things in my life that before, because of my workaholism, I was so desperate to have people approve of me. And now, instead of operating from a place of lack, I operate from a place of overflow. I have more than enough. I'm not scared of other people. I'm not scared of what I'm going to say because he already put words in my mouth. Someone who knows nothing.
That's amazing. And you know this, I know that as well. I'm a recovering people pleaser myself. So seeking other people's approval is super exhausting, and that can really lead to workaholism, burnout, all that I have experienced as well. And that is this depletion, and even wanting to show off, show up, show other people how well I'm doing and how successful I am. It's training. But now, as you have shared, like, instead of seeking the approval from people, you are seeking God's approval, and you will be filled, refilled, and replenished all the time. And what I would love to ask you now is, because you run multiple places, you continue running multiple businesses, right? And you have so much going on in addition to being a mom of 8 and a wife and lots of other hats you are wearing. So would you like to share a little bit about, because as you previously and many of us, when we, for example, we launch a business or we have a vision, we have a dream, we want to be successful, and it is okay wanting to be successful, but the thing is, what do we put first? And it is very commonplace to have this split between faith and God and spirituality, and then seeking goal achievement and seeking success and prosperity and fame and whatever. And because in the Bible it says, seek my kingdom first and everything else will be given to you. How would you say that has shown to you in practice since that day when you said yes and you became obedient and you said your life has changed and you continue being successful in your business? So I think that is a question many of us are asking. How do I put the kingdom first in practice when I have bills to pay, I have visions and dreams, and I have a family? You are a mom, you are an entrepreneur.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. And my friend Tara put it beautifully. She's the creator of an app called Bless. And she said to me one day when I was interviewing her, she said, there's a very, very big difference between kingdom business and worldly business. She said, worldly business is buying and selling. Kingdom business is sowing and reaping. And so literally, when God made that connection for me, he put a different lens. It's almost like I'm wearing a different set of glasses. And through that lens, I'm able to see the kingdom instead of the world. I approach everything that way. And so my desires, my dream, my vision for the future, I think the biggest demonstration of obedience, of faith, of surrender is setting aside our own dreams to take up his. And so the moment that I said, in my business, in what I see right now, the area that you want me to focus on, if I am putting you first, I am trusting that you will multiply. I'm trusting that you will do that. So how does that look like practically? In a practical way, it means that before I start checking my phone for emails and social media posts and all of that, I get in my closet and I do my Bible time. I do my one-on-one time with him, because he has shown me over and over what most people in the world will take 5, 10, 15, 20 years to create. He says, I can do in 2 months. He operates in such a creative, different way that we are not used to experiencing, because he says, my ways are not your ways. And we don't give ourselves the opportunity to experience his ways because we have such tight desire for control out of fear, because we're scared of failing. So we want to hold on to the reins of what's going to happen. And so in 2022, he had me speaking every day. In 2020. I'm already getting excited.
Oh, you are talking from the future.
In 2020, he had me speaking every day. In 2021, he said, meet me in the closet. And he had me, and you can find it on my social media stuff, he had me going in the closet, going live and praying over people. It was like, no, this is our time. We need to make him a priority and spend time with him first so that we can get the clarity and the direction that we need in our business. And he is so good at doing that if we are willing to take the time to be still and know that he is God, right? And he showed me so many things in the closet. He even started healing people through prayer, like of physical ailments, through the internet. Like, how does that happen? That's only God, right? So we tend to put him in a box so that he can conform to our needs in the way that from our past we see the possibilities, but he's saying, you need to take me out of the box because I don't live in the box.
Yes.
That's not where I am. I need you to come out of the box and meet me there. And that is what 2022 is about. It's about us taking our past, our own perspective of things and say, I'm just going to set that aside for a moment. And I'm just going to ask God the right questions. Lord, what are you going to do with this? You know, in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the difficult circumstances. Oh, I'm so curious to see, God, what are you going to do here? Wow. Because I know your ways are not my ways. I know you are creative. I know that you can accelerate in one moment.
Yes, and he always knows better than we know. And this is the in addition to the fear and the control freakiness that we have, that we need to let go. You know, the pride is so commonplace as well. We don't necessarily title it as pride. We don't necessarily recognize it as pride, but it is this that I know better. This is my way, and lack of obedience and lack of submission to God. Maybe we make another conversation about the kingdom business, because I'm getting so many questions about that now, but we don't have time for that today. But maybe we make another conversation later in 2022 about the kingdom business, because really in a practical way. And but you have, wow, what a life change you have had. So before we wrap up this amazing conversation, is there a final word of wisdom or part of your story that you would like to leave the listeners with about the gift of obedience, going from lukewarm to fire, about God, to trusting Him, and letting Him to be the CEO of your life and your business, or something else related to that?
Yes, definitely. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that because of my addiction to work and addiction to doing more, having to always do more in order to get a result that I wanted, God is showing me that I was taking that into my faith walk as well. So it was, I need to do more for God in order for Him to be pleased with me. And He's been showing me that that's not the way the kingdom operates. I am already approved because of what Jesus did on the cross. He said, "It is finished." So I even got a tattoo that says, "It is finished." I need to remember that what I've been striving for has already been done. It's done. So I just get to operate from that place of being His daughter. I get to be His daughter in every area of my life. And what does a daughter get? I get the car keys. My daddy takes care of me.
Yeah.
My daddy takes care of me. And so this year, my word is abide. He's saying, I need you to have that firm foundation of relationship with me. You need to know, you say I'm your daddy. Now you need to prove it. Now you need to prove it. You need to walk the talk, which means that the more that I am able to be in a space where He is the single focus, everything else will stem from that in ways that will blow my mind and blow you. Because it's like I said, it's this Holy Spirit is so creative in the ways that He connects you to people that you would, just like our connection. I had never met you before, right? And so He works behind the scenes while I get to rest. He says, 2022 is your time of working your business with ease. When have you ever used the word ease and business together? Right? But that's how the kingdom works. The kingdom is easy. It flows naturally from a place of love and abundance. There is no lack. His perfect shalom lives there, nothing missing, nothing broken. And so I need to show up to life like I am not broken and there is nothing missing, because that is what Jesus said, and what He did for me sealed the deal. I get to throw that to the side. And He says, it's time for all things to be new in you.